Hello. Thank you guys for coming today. I'm Kara Stevenson. I'm with Indiana Michigan Power Communications, and I want to welcome everyone who's in the room with us, but also everyone who's joining us virtually for today's presentation. To our partners in attendance, Soarin Hawk Raptor Rehabilitation, DNR, and the Fort Wayne Children's Zoo, we thank you guys for helping make this program possible today. Since 2013, Peregrine Falcon, Moxie and Jamie have called the roof of this building their home, welcoming 37 chicks since they first came in 2013. In total, 69 chicks have been hatched, named, and banned on the roof of this building. Today we get to do number 70, 71, 72, and 73. So before we get to do that, I want to invite up Bob Walton from Soarin Hawk Raptor Rehabilitation and Haley LeVay from the Fort Wayne Children's Zoo to speak a little bit more on peregrine falcons, but also conservation efforts and why they're so vital.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank you guys for being here and joining our panel. So Bob, I'm going to put you on the spot first.
Oh, okay. I'm terrified.
So we'll ease you in. So obviously we think of nature to be a little bit less traffic and a little bit more green. So can you kind of speak to why has downtown Fort Wayne specifically experienced these falcons on the roof of this building?
Well, the one thing is Fort Wayne's a very hospitable place. We have food for them and we have housing for them. So it's a great place for them to come. We've had, when we first released peregrines here back in '92, we left about 14 of them, but it took them a few years to come back and to find this nice place up here on top of the building where they could live. But we had a good supply of pigeons and starlings and other birds that sometimes we consider as pest birds, and so we had a good supply of food for them. So they found it a great place, and then also we have a lot of volunteers to take care of them. So we have DNR and Soarin Hawk and other people to take care of the birds, and so they found the place very hospitable. So so it's a nice place to live.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on what that care looks like for them? Obviously we see them on the cam for those who tune in, but what does that care look like? Well,
the care for them that we do is whenever any of the birds are in trouble, we, if you will, rescue them and get them out of the situation they're in, take them, check them for health or for injuries or that kind of thing. And we go over them very thoroughly, and then we feed them up for a couple days, give them some TLC, and then we put them back up on the roof. And to the greeting of the parents, and who are always so enthusiastic to see them and us up there. But so that's the kind of care that we give them, and and we're happy to do that. And we've rescued, 9 falcons over the years, and basically it's just a young one that's got himself in the wrong place. Sometimes it's a person who has reported that this peregrine's been sitting outside their office window now for 3 days and devouring bits and pieces of food, and they find that it's driving their customers away. So, so we go out and pick up Junior or whatever and bring her back and put them back up on the roof. Mom doesn't care where the babies are; she's going to take care of them. So it's so that's basically the kind of care we give them. And it's the kind of care that Soarin Hawk gives every bird that we rescue. Every bird that we go out there, whether it's a hawk, a raptor, a duck even, a goose, a swan, we take care of them and nurse them back to health and get them back out into the wild where they do their job for us.
Yeah. Nature truly is right in our backyard, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah. You'd be surprised what's out here.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, kind of transitioning to that, Haley, with nature being so close at hand, people see animals in their own backyard, not necessarily in downtown Fort Wayne, but in neighborhoods and suburbs. So can you kind of talk about why is conservation important and what is the zoo doing to help educate people on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So conservation of species worldwide is important, whether it's across an ocean or literally in your backyard. We at the zoo see local animals, from animals that have been helped by Soarin to animals that live, in Africa or in Asia, and we help with their species survival through something called the species survival plan, and other programs that help their conservation. But the main reason for conservation, and the main reason why conservation is so needed, is for something called biodiversity. And when you break the word biodiversity apart, it means like the magnitude of life, or the all the different life that has come together. So all the different biodiversity is so important throughout all ecosystems, whether it's here in Fort Wayne, in your backyard, or in a tropical rainforest, or in a prairie ecosystem. So all the animals and plants even are so super important for that ecosystem to completely run as it should. Otherwise, you can see absolute detriment, kind of like Yellowstone. So we always like to educate our guests about, hey, there are things that you can actually do and actually be active about. You don't have to fly to, Africa or Brazil or wherever to take part in these conservation missions. You can build, little window screens to help birds from crashing into it, or you can, make sure that you're planting a native pollinator garden so that way invasive plant species don't, run everywhere throughout your neighborhood. So it's really easy to take part in conservation. It's super important, especially here in your own backyard.
Yeah. So you talk about something like a pollinator garden. So we were talking earlier that a lot of these efforts start at such a young age. So how do you kind of take kids who come into the zoo or through different programs, how do you teach something that complex to them?
Yeah, we have a bunch of different ways that we do that. So for my job specifically, I am a conservation educator, and through that side of my job, I, along with other conservation educators, we go out into classrooms in elementary schools through either our Zoomobile program, so you might see our Zoomobiles driving around Fort Wayne, or really anywhere up, in northeastern Indiana. And we teach kids from ages, pre-K, like 5 years old, all the way up to 5th grade, all about animals, whether it's how animals move, or the different kinds of animals they might see in different ecosystems, or the reason biodiversity is important, all throughout those programs, as well as our multi-week program called ZSI, which is Zoo Scientific Inquiry. But we also do stuff on grounds through our Teens for Nature program, which is something that I lead. And some of our teens are here today, which is super awesome to see them. But that is, part of it, along with our Kids for Nature camp. They see what we do physically at the zoo and what we teach physically at the zoo, whether it's through those programs like the Teens for Nature and Kids for Nature camps, as well as, our keeper chats and signage around the zoo and whatnot. There are so many different things that you can actually see if you come, visit the zoo or talk to someone that works at the zoo. We will tell you everything that we know. We love talking to people.
Yes. Well, we truly appreciate this information, but also the work and the effort that both your organizations do to help educate and conserve and just share about these animals and just everything that goes with them.
Thank you.
So we really appreciate that. So who is ready to see these falcons get banded? Yeah. So we have, yes. We have Grace and Allison with the DNR. So we are going to get ready for them to head up to the roof. Obviously, as I said, the nest box is on the roof of this building. And as you know, we have 4 chicks. So we're going to watch as they head up to the roof, and they're going to retrieve the chicks to bring them back down here so they can get the banding done and figure out what their names are going to be. Speaking on the Teens for Nature program, we were given the list from them. You guys created the names or came up with the names, and the community voted, and 1,800 votes. So we will figure out what the names are for these babies. So you guys want to go ahead? We'll follow you guys up to the roof. We'll see you go.
Just to give you a little bit of background on what we do, we typically will have this lovely chick bucket. We have a designated chick bucket that we have built in 4 cells, 4 little rooms, I guess you could say, so that they don't end up hurting each other. We don't want to put them all in one space because they have talons and those are their little weapons. And if they're struggling and really stressed out or something like that, they might hurt each other, so we try to keep them separate. So we'll be taking that chick bucket up, and then we'll also get strapped in for safety purposes. Of course, everybody needs to be safe when you're banding falcons. And our goal mostly is trying to get those guys safely out of the box while also making sure that the parents are able to just calmly accept that we're doing this to their kids. If not, we'll be protected. We brought an umbrella because they dive bomb. Lovely. So we'll get started and be back with some chicks.
Thank you.
Cool.
So as they get ready to head up, make sure you listen. Obviously, as they spoke, Moxie and Jamie are going to share their displeasure with us. So you might be able to hear them from this room. And kind of while we watch them, they'll be up on the screens, and then we'll have the Falcon cam, which is on the far screen. While we watch them, Bob, if you could kind of speak a little bit to why this event is so special, especially given Moxie and Jamie's current ages.
Yeah. Well, they are kind of getting on in age. The average age of a lifespan of a peregrine falcon is about 10.5 years. So we've been very fortunate here in Fort Wayne that the birds we've had have extended their lives up to 15 years. Wow. In fact, we had one bird that we took care of, Nancy, who was a bird from, there you go, Whiting, Michigan. And she came to us, she was injured, and we extended her life to 15 years. So we do a very good job here in Fort Wayne. So they're getting toward the end of their lifespan, and what we found with the previous occupants, Freedom, she wasn't producing eggs the last 2 years of her life, even though she did live to 15, but still, so they've kind of gone past their age limit. So they've passed their sell-by date at this point.
Yeah.
And so that's really important. But the thing is that apparently they're getting good nutrition, they're getting lots of food, and they're also probably of good genetic stock. And so that's got a lot to do with it. So it's eat healthy and have good genes, you know, and you'll live a long time. So that's really important to see how much longer they're going to stay here. And so possibly in a year or two, when they're no longer able to reproduce, there may be a replacement peregrine will come through. And this happens quite often that new female or new male will usurp the nest. And which is what happened with Freedom. She was displaced here by Moxie. And we have Freedom over here. She's a mount up there so you can see her. And and as you can see, she has no visible wounds or anything like that. So it's possibly a little bit of a confrontation between the two, and probably broke her neck, and she was only found a few blocks from here. So she was so she was displaced, and that's what happens. And so both Freedom and her mate were displaced by Jamie and Moxie. So that'll probably happen again. You know, and who it's going to be, we don't know, because there's peregrines passing through all the time, and so they, you know, but it'll be a 2-year-old male or female that will displace them.
So talk a little, we see here on the Falcon cam right now how it looks like that box is right on the edge of the roof of the building.
Yeah. Well, actually it's set back about 1.5 feet, about 2 feet back, so there's a drop there in front of about 1.5 feet. So it's so if the birds do drop out of sight, don't panic, okay? You know, they seem to have enough wisdom, or at least enough, they've been taught by their parents where the edge is, and I've never seen them actually out on the edge itself. The only people I ever see out, well, people, the only, I guess I would call them people, the only time I ever see anybody out there on the edge is when people go out there to go get the birds.
Right.
And so it's so they have the whole roof up there, so they'll drop off and they'll wander off, and it's open underneath the box, so sometimes they just sit there in the shade from the sun. And so probably about the next week you're going to be seeing more activity up there. And and then probably beginning of June we're going to start seeing them exercising and trying to fly and doing all kinds of things. And that's when the soap opera gets really interesting.
Yes,
You know,
yes.
And so sometimes, but they always come back for mom and dad, and they're always going to be out there looking for food. And so occasionally we'll call up and we'll get the camera relocated, you know, just to search around just in case everybody's missing. And then probably somewhere about the second week in June, they're actually going to be flying and or exercising and flying to fledge out. And that's when it gets more exciting because that's when people start seeing them on their windowsills in the office buildings and other places. That's when we get them down here in the parking lot below us. And occasionally we can just pick them up, check them over, and take them back up. And they have the greeting from the parents to see them and see us.
Yeah. So as we're kind of watching the DNR get ready here on the camera, you see hard hats on the table, and can you kind of explain a little bit why that's necessary, especially as they're getting ready to go out?
Well, the way
Those
that
of us who don't know.
Yeah, well, see those nice, cute little feet there that they have? Yes, they do have talons on them, but the way that peregrines hunt is that typically what they do is they get above their intended target, they ball up their feet, and then come down at about 60 miles an hour and whack you with the back with their fist, if you will, and give you a good whack. And so, so what's going to happen is she's going to get out there, and she's going to be going over to get the birds, and the other person will be watching and telling when the birds are going to attack. And a lot of times what they'll do is they'll come up above, and then they'll fold up their wings and then come down, fist out, and whack you on the back of the head. And so the hard hats work really nicely. It's not too hard. I mean, it won't knock your hat off, but it's uncomfortable.
It's not something that would feel good.
I've been up there a few times and gotten, but the nice thing is that there's a mirror finish on the side of the building.
Okay.
So you can actually, while you're standing there hanging onto the rope and making sure nobody falls off, you can see them coming up from behind you. One of the techniques that they use is usually there's wind blowing up from the building. The wind hits the building, and then you get wind flying up. And so what they'll do is they'll come down below the edge of the building, and then they'll get in there, put their wings out like a parachute, and then they'll let the wind lift them up above you, and then down they come again. So you have to get up there, and it's a good time. And what she's going to do is she's going to, the babies will probably all cower in one corner and bunch up, and then she'll be able to reach in. So while I think it was Anna that's going to keep the birds away, or at least warn her about the incoming attacks. But so they'll go through this for a while, and then after a while the parents will calm down, just sit there on the rails and just yell and cuss and swear and everything. And but they've been through it now for about 13 years or 12 years, I think. And so they've been through this for 12 years. So so after a few minutes, they'll calm down and say, okay, because I've been out there on the roof, and Dad comes in and he just sits there on the antenna, looks at you and says, okay, hurry up, get the stuff done. And so just get it done. He heard the kids complaining, but he knows nothing's going to happen to them. So they're pretty smart animals. But the hard hats, yes, you need the hard hats. And usually I wear a heavy coat out there or jacket, because even so they do have those nice talons, they are razor sharp. Right. And so even though they look like small birds, a bird traveling a 2-pound bird traveling at 60 miles an hour can really hurt you. It can mess up your whole day. And
nobody wants that on a Friday.
So it's so you have to take a few precautions, but for the most part, the birds respect you and you respect them, and it works out. And so it's going to be a fun time for up there. And the weather's nice and it's pleasant. There's not much wind, and hopefully part of your job up there, besides picking up the babies and stuff, she'll do a little bit of a cleaning. Clean out the place a little bit, put some fresh gravel in, and make things a little more homey for them. But they're going to be well taken care of because we have the people here at I&M to take care of them, and we got all the people that are going to be watching the YouTube page. I don't know how many people we have on that. How many do we have on there?
Well, on our Facebook page, we have, I'm too excited about this event. I'm sorry.
Well, I know it's in the thousands, and we have people as far away as Germany and Poland watching. We have some people in the Orient
crazy.
watching. So there's all kinds of people. They have all kinds of grand aunts and grandmothers and stuff like that watching them and keeping an eye on them. And then we have, of course, we have people with us that you can email us or text us, and we'll try to answer questions if you have any.
Yeah. I'm sure you might get some questions after today.
Yeah.
So now they're getting ready. They're getting up on the roof. So obviously,
It'll be
look
fun.
out for
Okay.
Moxie and Jamie. So we didn't see them in the initial camera view.
Umbrella.
Where, oh. So then we do have that split view, so you can see them as they walk out onto where the nest box is, and then the far screen shows the current view of the nest box. So you can kind of see the cause and effect between them getting near them and Moxie and Jamie coming.
Oh boy. Yep. Somebody's waiting for you.
Oh.
Oh, there we go.
So do they get like a little bit used to it after doing it for so long? You said
Yeah.
they calm down
Yeah,
sometimes.
they do, but they're aware of what's happening.
Okay.
And so they'll calm down, but about the initial 5 to 10 minutes
Oh, okay.
is going to be a little bit of, I mean, she's sitting right back there
Right.
again, so she's made her initial announcement, like, okay. And we get make sure we're tied on. I never thought about the umbrella thing. That's a smart idea. I hadn't thought about that. So.
So that is that Moxie that's right there? So when will we see, will Jamie come in once he hears Moxie call?
Let's see. What are we typing? Okay. So she's, that probably is Moxie sitting there. But, yeah, when you get up on the edge there, looking down 23 stories is kind of, exciting.
That's crazy.
Okay, she's flying out. She's going to come around.
Oh. Like the babies.
Makes me nervous.
Mm-hmm.
There's a rail there, and the rail is used by for the equipment that the window washers use for going up and down the side of the building.
Right.
Okay. The picture's frozen. Oh, I see her.
Just
Okay.
delayed, I
Here she
think.
comes. Okay. Must be it. There's a delay in between the two. Okay.
Yeah.
Look. Yeah. Yeah. There's probably a 1 minute delay between this and that.
So we see on the Falcon cam, which is a little delayed, they're going to start reacting. Obviously, we see that she has some of the chicks. So, oh,
There you go. Well, that got some of the debris out.
Yeah. One way to do it. So are they sectioning the bucket off? Is that what's happening?
Yeah, it's got
Okay.
sections in it, yep.
Oh,
Don't want to stay in the bucket. Looks like they didn't do too many strikes there.
that's crazy. Just off the edge of the building.
Oh, there's somebody coming in. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, look
There,
at that.
up.
Wow.
Okay. See, one of the things about the attacks is she's going to be very careful because she doesn't want to injure herself in the process. So she gauges it. I think it's mainly a warning thing more than an actual trying to do any harm or damage to anybody. And she's going to sit there now, supervise. Usually, I've had them sit there and also up on the thing sticking out on the right. They'll sit up on top of that and watch. And when we return them, if there's a baby, usually we just put them here on the walkway and let them walk back. And I had a female, she was very grouchy and upset with us. We put her down and she stamped all the way back to the net. Yeah, so she was really mad at us. And Jamie came flying back in to see what she was all upset about. He just sat up on the antenna, looked at me, looked at her, and said, "Oh, you brought her back, huh?"
Did that personality stick the rest of the times?
Right, yeah. So it was kind of like, oh yeah, it's just, yeah. So they get used to the idea of humans being up there, and they're somewhat habituated, and they go through this. But yeah, in the earlier years, they're a lot more aggressive. But as they grew older and more mature, it became less aggressive, and it was more like, okay, we go through this routine because we have to. It's part of the rules.
So why ban them? You want to tell everybody what's the significance to banding these birds?
That's the significance. Well, first off, is to keep track of them, because it's always interesting to see what happens. One of the birds that we had that we rescued was Nancy, and Nancy had let's see, I think she had about 18 offspring. Anyways, one of her babies actually ended up down in Costa Rica, and the reason and the why we knew is because the baby had a band on, and so she was sitting up on at the let's see, it was the Cathedral of the Immaculate Conception in San Jose, Costa Rica, and she was eating pigeons, and so somebody with a telescope could see the bands and then could see where she went. But peregrines, they get their name because they're travelers, they're wanderers, and so the baby had been hatched out, and in less than 6 months it was down in Costa Rica. So so really a long distance flight,
Yeah,
and so
absolutely.
these guys get around, and so we also know that some of Moxie's offspring now we have one in South Bend and one in Pittsburgh, right? And so we know where they went to, so we know what happened to them, and so we're making this big family tree. So we've gone to Ancestry 23, and we're tracking them up. And,
All because of banding.
Right, and because of banding, and it provides a lot of scientific information.
Absolutely.
And that's the whole purpose of doing banding of birds and mammals and other things, is finding out what happens to some of these. It's surprising, we knew that peregrines peregrinate, but where do they go?
Right.
And so we're always getting information, and so it provides us some information about what's going on with nature and us, and so it's good, because if we'd done more banding, maybe we would recognize the decline of the peregrines back in the 50s and the bald eagles, but people just kind of accepted it was nature and that kind of thing. But once, by the time we recognized what was happening, it was way too late, to do anything.
Right, right. So you spoke on other animals that are banded. So we've talked before on the owls, the eagles. What other types of birds do we band around Indiana?
Oh, around Indiana, almost any of the passerine birds that pass through, so everything, robins, warblers, wrens, all kinds of things get, so we have a major banding set up at the dunes,
Right.
where they come through, because it's a natural migration point. It's kind of like a choke point,
Right.
where the birds come up, hit the lake, and they have to stop. And so they gravitate right there.
Right.
So we get a lot. And then we can track and see if they come back through that way.
Awesome.
Okay.
Well, I think we're going to have some visitors here momentarily. We'll probably hear them before we see them. Here they are. Yikes.
When we got them out of the box, they were screaming like crazy. I'm gonna put them right in between us. Okay. And I'm gonna move this a little bit over to you.
Move this whole thing.
Okay. Actually, put this on your side, and you're gonna get them out.
I'm getting them. Yeah.
On your side. Okay. All right, so we're gonna get to see some 3 to 4 week old chicks. They look more on the 4 week end, just because they have their feathers coming out of their feather shafts on their wings, and I'll show you that. And it looks like we have both genders, male and female. The female is bigger than the male. Hello. Hello. Got him. Yep, got him. And sometimes, so this looks, it's like getting your first medical checkment if you were a kiddo. It's a stressful situation. So the best thing to do, sometimes I like to kind of cover their eyes so that they calm down a little bit, okay? So I'm just going to put my glove over to see if I could help calm a little bit. When their eyes are covered, they typically calm down because it's darker. So, no. It's better to have them less stressed out. It's good for us, it's good for them. Just because their hearts are going pretty fast, we don't want them to get too stressed out. So I think we have a female on our hands. This is a bigger bird. Females are bigger than males overall, and even it's pretty evident when they are even just 3 to 4 weeks old. So I think we have a female. And we're going to band this bird with the right leg is going to have its U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service band, which is this band. It's the metal aluminum band that has a very unique identifier on it. So it's like a person's social security number, or for the kids, it's like your name, okay? Your name is really unique to you, and it helps identify you as an individual. So we're going to put this on. If you could hold this, I'm going to open up the band. Okay.
With this being a female, this will be Storm.
Storm! Is it the Marvel Storm?
I look to the teens that help pick the name.
Meaning Storm, who conjures storms
we'll leave
and
it
is
open
awesome as a superhero?
Yes, we'll leave it open.
Superhero.
So.
Thank you. So Storm will get her unique identifier. And this is a federal band, meaning the federal government issued this band through the Bird Banding Lab. They are the ones who keep track of all the birds that are banded in the United States. And I'm going to put it upright. And then I'll take it. Got it. Yep. And notice he's a lot calmer with his head covered. This is not to it's to calm them down. These are fighters. They take after their parents, by the way, which is a good thing. Right. I have to put it so that it's upside down to me, but right side up to when they stand. So when they stand, it needs to be upright. The numbers and the letters need to be upright. And it's called a lock-on band, where there's a little tab that gets pressed down so that the band doesn't come off. These are unique to raptors. She's like, where am I? And you guys are being great because a silent audience, it helps them be calm, okay? And up, down, all around. That's pretty good. She's got thick legs. She's got power legs.
Yeah, she does.
Talons, weapons for a falcon. That's what they use to kill their prey. Okay, so these, you have to be worried about the talons. A lot of people think the bill, secondary weapon. It's like having something extra. But these are what actually do a lot of the killing. This is the processing of their prey, of their birds that they end up eating. So she's got her Fish and Wildlife Service band, the federal band on her. Now we're going to put her color band on her, which helps us identify the bird from afar, because the numbers on this silver band, they're not very easy to read when you're looking through binoculars. So we have these color bands with specific, like black over blue, and numerical, like U over 36, to be able to better identify this bird from afar with just binoculars, instead of having to read a whole 9-digit band on the federal band. So it just lets us be able to identify this bird a little bit easier. This is an auxiliary marker. They don't have to have this, but we want to keep track of this bird. Good? Good. And when I it's like, I just woke up, and now I see that I'm being abducted by aliens. you could actually hold this. That will stay. I'm going to open up the band.
Okay.
Thank you. Come in. Got him. So, good. Thank you. There you go. So we use a rivet gun. Surprisingly, rivet guns can be used in banding birds. People who are familiar with rivet guns, often used in like construction work. We actually use them to put the bands on the birds because it helps secure the bird bands in place. So it might sound a little like loud when you hear it pop off, but it's securing it like that. What's that?
That it sounds like a staple.
Yes, it does. Yep. And it does the same purpose. It's for securing that in place. Very good. That's exactly what we're doing. There you go. And now we've got our first storm. Luckily, there was not a storm today. We have a lovely storm
We'll
here
echo
today.
that.
That's much better than a storm outside.
She's not holding my hand.
So I'm going to go under here. Now, yep. After we do this, she's going to struggle because she seems to react to our change in position. We're going to put some flea and tick powder on her to give her a little bit of an extra. Okay. Extra help with her fleas and her ticks. So they have feather mites that are all throughout the feathers on the wing, and it actually can be out throughout the whole body. It's kind of like having lice for people. And so if you got some dirty parents, they might get some dirty bodies as a result. So we put this on to just help take care of that, because the feather lice will actually like drink blood and eat parts of the feathers and things like that. It wears it out a lot. Oh, thank you. So we're putting permethrin, like the flea and tick powder on to help just treat that lice. Thank you. And they'll look a little dusty, but that's basically them getting their medicine, getting powdered up.
You ready?
Yep. I know. She's a murder. So who is going to hold storm? Is anybody going to Soarin Hawk? She's a fighter.
Come on.
So Storm will be coming around, so we ask that you just respond back to her hi and not touch her, but
There's a lot of people. There's a lot of
So
people.
the next is a male. Do you have any male names?
we do. So this is Tom.
He's much smaller. He's so much smaller. Is it T-Y?
T-O-M, Tom.
Tom.
Yep,
Tom.
Tom.
Okay.
Yep.
Hello, Tom. Welcome. So Tom's going to get his metal band first, and we'll kind of move through this a little faster. Got him.
Looks like Moxie's back looking for her kids.
If you look to the Falcon cam, you'll see obviously the empty nest box, but you'll see that, is it mom or dad, do we know? Has been checking up.
Notice how I like slowly move it a little bit more forward. Very instantly. Slow, deliberate. This one here, or both of them?
Look around. Look
Yeah.
where.
Where'd they go?
What's going on here? What does people do?
All right. So we're putting on the color band. We have the Fish and Wildlife Service band on right now. And this guy's a lot smaller. Like, I'd say like 2/3 the size of the other one.
Each other healthy.
Do their legs grow at all? Like, so the bands would need to change size, or?
No, no. Their legs are at full size right now.
Okay.
So,
He's still a screamer though. Sometimes the females are a little bit louder.
Your wrist is close to his tail and just like that.
Okay, thank you.
Distracted.
Good. Got it. And now we're gonna powder him.
He has something to say.
Good. Good. Powder this
There
one.
you go. Thank you for opening your eyes.
Thanks. These look pretty clean. We have not seen any feather lice on these guys very much, but it's always good to be preventative. Kind of like being proactive with your probiotics. Good. He's good to go. Hold on one second. Hold on. All right. He's got me. All right. So this is Tom. Tom's feisty too. I think they're all feisty. Let me know when. Good. Good. Okay. Okay. All right, we got Tom. He'll be going around. If you want to see, there is a significant size difference between the two. If you want to actually compare, you'll see. Males are much smaller than females. Okay. Next one. It's in the calm down one, so just like not moved around too much. So it's a good thing. And notice their feathers are starting to come out. This is all down, the fluff, all the beautiful fluff. I like to call them fluffy little killers because they're very cute. So this is all the fluff, but their feathers around their face are starting to come out. And if you see, I'm going to take this.
Okay, you got it.
the feathers here, these are the pins of the primary feathers. Here are primaries, these are the secondaries. We have names for all these different types of feathers. It helps ornithologists better identify ages of the birds by just reading the types of feathers that they have, because they molt in different ways. And so these guys have these primary feathers that are coming out that are super streaky. That's a juvenile plumage. That's only for the young birds. When they become adults, they'll actually get barring across their breasts rather than streaking. So they're getting a really streaky breast. And if you could see, these feathers are coming out of the pins, the shaft here. Those pins will just kind of deteriorate off, and that's why we have all this like dust around us. It's from the feather pins. And then the full feather will emerge from that, and they'll get their plumage, their feathers. This is a male.
This is definitely a boy.
This is a boy because he's so little.
So this is River.
River. Beautiful.
Yep. So we have
That's a great
Storm,
name.
Tom, and River currently.
I like Tom.
Flip him over.
He's pretty chill.
He's pretty chill.
He's chill. Oftentimes the males are quieter than the females. I don't know what that means,
He's so tiny. Look at him.
but people like to say certain things about this. It's a female. Okay, so
I'm gonna have you grab both the legs really quick. I'm gonna put
yep.
the lid back on the chick folks.
Yep. Got him. He's very calm, like comparatively. So whoever wants to hold this one is much calmer.
He's just like, hey.
Yep. It's really, really chill.
Camera shot of it.
I know, he's very chill. I got him. He's like, he's really, really good. This is a child I would like to have. River, you're so good. Oh my God, River.
You can pose and let you show his head.
I know. He's very calm.
So we did have a question from the audience on the bands. Do they expand the bands as the birds get older? They don't?
No.
No, they don't.
Okay.
No. We put them on when their legs are the thickest and meatiest.
Okay.
So that's around 3 to 4 weeks old. We typically think of it as pin break.
Okay.
So when their feather pins actually have the feathers come out of it. And that's pretty universal for all birds. I've done a lot of songbird banding.
Yeah.
Pin break is when we start banding the birds because that's when they lose the fat and like that thickness in their legs as they get older.
Okay.
So it's the thickest that they can be.
Right.
So that's why we band them at this age, so that it doesn't fall off, but it also doesn't necessarily end up being too tight, because their legs are the biggest. Okay, that was a very good question. Thank you. And I'll adjust and adjust. Make sure that it's going in the right direction. Just keep micro adjusting until you feel like it's good. Good? You still good? Doing great. Now we're putting on his color band. Like every family, you have different characteristics for birds. You got the raucous ones, and then you got like the I'm chill.
The middle child.
The middle child. I don't know. So we can definitely see the diversity in the characteristics of these birds. I like to push it against it. Yeah, if you have any more questions, please feel free to ask questions if you have more questions.
So the rivet gun isn't painful, it's just stapling the two pieces of the band together. Like you said, it sounds like a staple, it's just like a staple. So we're stapling the two sides of the band so that they're gonna be like a bracelet on them for the rest of their lives. So it makes a loud noise, but it's not hurting them.
It's just affecting the band, not the leg. And whenever I put the band on, I make sure it moves freely. I like to say up, down, and all around. Up, down, and all, and spin it around. And that means it's on really well. We're good with that one, and just. Now
Yes, and river. R-I-V. Yeah. Yeah.
now we're gonna dust him.
I have it written down too if you need it.
He's very precious.
A few more things. Can you give me like maybe 5 more minutes when they start to bring them up to the roof? Okay.
He's very good. All right.
I'll let you have.
Yeah.
Yep. Got him.
Hang on a minute.
There we go.
I don't like Falcon.
Now he's got Falcon. Yo.
All right.
River.
Is this our female? Okay. I think this one's a female. We'll see. Yeah, reverse skinny. Okay. Interesting.
Our last baby.
Last baby. Last but not least. Hello. Yeah, female. It's a female. It's a girl.
It's a girl.
Hi. Oh.
This. Oh. She's so excited to find out her name, and her name is Cindy.
Cindy, okay.
So we have Storm, Tom, River, and Cindy. Storm and Cindy are our two females, and Tom and River are our two males. So as we stated earlier, these names were determined by the zoo's Teens for Nature camp. We got a list of names, and those names were put out to the community to vote on. We received about 1,800 votes, and obviously we have come up with Storm, Tom, River, and Cindy. So thank you to everybody who voted, and thank you to the teens for coming up with the names. And once we do get Cindy with her bands on, if we could have the teens that are in attendance come up to the table and get a quick group shot with the 4 birds, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I don't have to pull your leg or anything, right?
No mites that I can see.
Yeah, that's good.
Not too dirty.
She's a fighter. I know, good.
Got it.
More attentive to making sure everything's up properly. All right. Any more questions? Any more questions? Yeah.
Why are all of their eyes all black?
Black? Yeah, that's a really good question. I'm not sure. Some of them have irises and some of them don't. What's the purpose of irises? Hold on. Irises. I think the reason why their eyes are totally black is to capture as much light as possible because their eyes are highly developed. They actually kind of have, like, imagine having binoculars over your eyes. You can see that far away because they can capture a lot of light and see really far distances. And that's how they capture their prey, like pigeons and doves. I think that's it.
If the teens want to start making your way up, we'll get a quick picture with the falcons. We could have all four together.
Yeah? Okay. Okay.
Better get up there, Haley.
Yeah.
They'll push you out of the way.
They will.
If we could have the other falcons go in there as well.
Okay. Yes. Emily, you come in. We're going to stand behind. And we'll smile. Squish him. Smile.
Who's taking a picture?
C-I-N-D-Y.
Cindy is C-I-N-D-Y. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Tom and Cindy were the former mayor and his wife that just died recently.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah. Yeah, she died of cancer, and so did he, as a matter of fact. You know, at 6 months
Good.
apart.
Cool.
So, and that was the name we suggested.
All right.
But
Thanks, guys, for a picture. Sneak on out of there.
yeah.
Well, I have this already. This is the perfect.
Yeah.
Can I take a picture of just the list?
Yeah.
What?
So momentarily, the birds will head back up to their concerned parents.
Yeah, you guys better get up there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
With them. Come on, get in there.
You should be there, too.
Shove those people in red out of the way.
Bob, I took a picture. You get to take a picture.
Oh, no, I'm fine. I've had my picture taken so many times.
If we could have the two, Tom and Cindy, if we could get a picture. Sorry. After this picture, we'll pull Tom and Cindy and we'll get a picture.
Anyone, Tom and Cindy?
Mm-hmm. Which was 2 and 4.
For those joining us virtually, Tom and Cindy are the late mayor and his wife who both recently passed away. So
Yeah, I know. We're going to search you guys before you leave here.
So as these birds they're going to be returned to the nest box to mom and dad. We hope everybody enjoyed today's event, and we invite you to keep up to date with the chicks and mom and dad on our Falcon Cam, which you can access from our website, indianamichiganpower.com. We hope to see you back next year, and we hope everybody has a very safe and relaxing weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do that. You can't put a band on them. You can't tattoo them. You can't, cut up feathers or whatever. And so, we said, why not chipping?
For your dog or your cat?
Yep. So that's what we do now. So all the birds, we have 24 ambassador birds.
Yep.
Those are all chipped, and now we're chipping the birds that we release.
Awesome.
I'm like, oh, did you add or you want your equipment back? They're taking it back. I know. I think the raptors, since pterodactyls, You're welcome.
Pleasure.
So anyway, we're doing the chip looking because, sometimes and some of them actually, some of them just like the big eagles. We decided that that's the one thing that we could do. It's inexpensive, it's just $1 a piece. Yeah, we bought a whole kit for like $50. The reader, the inserter, the whole thing. Oh my goodness. So that's what we decided to do. Sure. And maybe get some of your rehabbers interested in doing something like that. Because otherwise we don't know what we're doing. And like I said, sometimes you get hurt back and you know. I also do bags. I don't know. We can't ship them. They're too stamp small. But I know that some of the bags are like a battery. Okay, still got me.
Look at that.
But usually it's that fast.
And I say we're down. Because I didn't look at George. I'm going to just see how they were separated.
My generation, like we're losing younger people enthusiasts. What I was trying to figure out, especially in the crazy science for raptors.
Double decker.
So my thought was,
We just put him in. Yeah, it works. Easier. Yeah, Yeah, just be like, stay there.
Okay, we're ready for the next bird.
Storm says hi.
Okay.
Storm is gigantic.
Storm is a very good eater.
You're very good.
Show me to place these layers straight down. We're going to make sure it's easy for her to lay down. Good job.
Once you get uncovered,
Yeah.
you're fine.
Cool.
You're just like,
They're all four in there. I mean,